Hello and welcome to CallTower's Office 365 subscription changes video. Today we're going to be answering some questions and talking about the new commerce experience, or NCE, that Microsoft is rolling out in the next few months. So joining us today and talking about these changes will be Eric Lee. He's our brand and product marketing lead, as well as Melinda Hicks, who is the senior manager of client success. I'm Kate Herbert. I'm the marketing content strategist, and I'll be moderating today. So I think we'll go ahead and start things off by swapping it over to Eric Lee, who will be talking about the timelines that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. So there has been a lot of conversation circulating the internet recently about Microsoft's new pricing changes and also their subscription structures. So we hope to clear some things up for you all today with this video. And we believe that the dates that we need to talk about are some of the most important things to address and where a lot of the confusion has been happening. So first thing we want to talk about is Microsoft is offering this 5% discount to everyone who is moving over to an annual new commerce experience. And that has already begun and it'll go through June 30th. So if you want to get in on that, you should make some plans to do that. And the next thing to talk about here is price increase for modern work or your Office 365 licenses. Microsoft is implementing this price increase on March 1st, so be aware of that. And if you can notice, if I can get my laser pointer here, there is this gap between 5% discount that Microsoft's offering and then when their price increases. We believe here at CallTower that right now would be the best time to migrate off of your legacy to the new commerce experience because you will get that 5% discount and you won't be hit with that price increase. So you'll get more bang for your buck if you make changes today and before the end of February. Also, new subscriptions will be purchased or must be purchased on the NCE starting March 10th. So if you're a new customer adding new subscriptions, starting March 10th, you will have to be on NCE. If you're adding a new license type that creates a new order or a new subscription, that will also be on NCE if done after March 10th. And the last thing here is new legacy subscriptions must be renewed in NCE starting July 1st. So if you have a subscription now within legacy and your subscription end date is in April, you can renew within legacy. That's totally fine. You can continue doing that. But if your subscription ends after July 1st, you will be forced to move into the new NCE. So be aware of that. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Melinda to talk about the pricing increase.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, let's get into the information that folks are most worried about here, and that would be the pricing. So it looks like here, from what you can see, there is some pricing increases coming to all of the licenses, but these are some of the ones that are the most popular that we see on a day-to-day basis. So as you can tell, it looks like there's a few dollars for all the licenses as far as increases go. A couple of things to be aware of here is this is a Microsoft change all around the board. So this is not something that CallTower is initiating. This is something just, again, that we're kind of just following in alignment with Microsoft here. So one thing to remember is if you are an education organization or you are utilizing consumer products, this change does not impact you whatsoever. So one thing to be aware of there. Another thing is if you do select or elect to go on a monthly term, which is essentially no commitment, your licenses will increase by 20% on top of these prices that you see above in the blue.
Awesome. Thank you, Melinda. So let's talk a bit more about the legacy subscriptions and what you can still do with these with the new changes that Microsoft has made. So the first thing is legacy subscriptions will no longer automatically renew. This used to be the case before the NCE came out where they would automatically renew, but now that has been turned off. So you will need to be aware of when your subscription is going to end so you can make plans accordingly. The nice thing though is Microsoft does provide a grace period. So if you forgot to change your or done something with your subscription, you can do that. They give you some extra time. It's not just going to completely shut off your services. There will be no promotion prices for the legacy subscription. So that 5% that we talked about, that is only for new commerce, not for legacy. So be aware of that. Subscriptions can be migrated to the new commerce experience at any time, or the subscription, or at the subscription end date. So if you would like, you can migrate now. Again, we would recommend that you do that within the month of February, so that you can get the best discounts, or you can just wait till the end of your subscription and make changes then. You can continue to increase or decrease licenses at the same legacy price until the subscription end date. So just like you've been able to do before within legacy, you can continue to increase or decrease licenses, but there are some things to be aware of and some wording that we will talk about. New licenses added to existing subscriptions will be coterminous with the original end date and prorated. So coterminous means that when you add these new licenses to your subscription, it will maintain that end date that you already had. It's not going to create a new one, and that those licenses will be prorated. So if you had 25 and you wanted to add 5, you can do that, but you won't pay. You'll just pay that prorated for those 5 licenses you add. New legacy subscription orders up until March 10th will receive its own term date and will increase in price if you do it after March 1st. So what this means is if you add a new license type, it will create a completely new subscription order, which will receive its own term end date. So here's an example for you. If you, as a company, already have, like I said, 25 E3 subscriptions, and you wish to add 5 more, you can do that, and it'll be the coterminous, it'll be prorated. But if you decide that your company now needs an E5 license and you've never had one in the past, this will create a completely new subscription. So what will happen is it will have its own end date, and also depending on the timing of this new subscription, you'll receive that increased pricing if done after March 1st. And then you'll also be forced into the new commerce experience if you do it after March 10. So be aware of that. Each subscription type will have its own, each license type will have its own subscription. So just again, be aware of these changes. And let's talk about the new commerce experience and what is going on here. So licenses may be reduced within the first 72 hours of being added. So unlike legacy, where you can add or increase, decrease your licenses at will, within the new commerce experience, you can only reduce them within the first 72 hours. And after that, you can only increase, and that becomes your new minimum of licenses until the subscription end date. The promotion price at 5% discount through June 30th will automatically be applied if you are to move to NCE now. So you don't have to worry about, excuse me, you don't have to worry about anything there. And migration capabilities are within Microsoft's partner portal. So super easy, work with your CSP like CallTower, and we can get you migrated with no problem. You can migrate to NCE at any time, like we had mentioned with when we were talking about legacy. So again, February would be a great time to do that. NCE is not applicable for government, education, or nonprofit. So just like Melinda mentioned with the pricing, NCE is also not available at this time for these organizations. And you can't migrate a legacy subscription within the first month of creation. So if you were to create a new subscription, like I was mentioning, those E5 licenses or E5 subscription within maybe April, you wouldn't be able to migrate to NCE also in April. You would have to wait until a month has passed. And with that, I will kick it back over to Melinda and Kate for some commonly asked questions.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions here, Melinda. Some questions that your team's already gotten quite a bit of, and we're going to want you to reiterate it for the rest of the class.
Awesome.
So the first question here is, what does NCE stand for? What even is it?
All right. So great question, and probably the biggest question that we're getting right now. And that would obviously, of course, stand for new commerce experience. Now, this has become a popular term for CallTower, and I'm sure folks are seeing all of the publications being sent out from, of course, now CallTower and Microsoft. So big thing to just keep in mind here is this is really just a structure change for the pricing and terms for Microsoft. So other than that, not too many changes or really anything to be worried about.
Okay, perfect. Next question. If I add to my licenses Power BI Pro, for example, after March 10th, 2022, but I've already renewed my current subscription, where does that new license reside? Is that in Legacy or in NCE?
Anything added after this date will automatically go onto the new structure of NCE. So nothing after that date will be able to ever be legacy ever again. So important to know, especially with billing, what you would see on the call tower side is if we are your CSP, you will see your previous legacy information, and then you'll see anything added after March 10th under the NCE structure.
Alrighty, perfect. And the third question. Will my team's voice services be impacted by the NCE changes in any way?
Ooh, this is my favorite. Absolutely not. So again, as I mentioned above, this is really just a change in pricing and terms for Microsoft. So your voice services will not be, you will not lose any service or have any interruptions at all.
Okay, excellent. All right, the fourth and final question before we move on to our true false myth busting slide. What does NCE mean in layman's terms? What do us regular folk who have no idea what any of that tech stuff means have to think about for NCE?
As we've kind of mentioned a few times here, this is again just really changes to the terms. So a few things to keep in mind here, and we've broken it out into three different categories. So the first one here, if you see below, is an annual commitment, so a 12-month term. And you will have the option to make just a one-time lump sum payment, and you'll do this once a year. My team obviously will work with customers, going forward on renewals and things like that. If we are your CSP every year, so that we can make sure you guys are in alignment. But that is the first option, is again to be come over with a 12-month commitment and make a one-time lump sum payment. Second one would be also to commit to a 12-month term, but you have the option to basically stretch your payments out over the year. So we would bill you on a monthly basis for your yearly commitment. And then the last one, which is a little bit different, but still is, comes into play here a little bit. You have the option of going just straight month to month, which means you will not have a commitment at all with CallTower or Microsoft for your licensing, but you will have a 20% higher price than you would with being on a 12-month term. So they're, again, pretty basic changes, but again, wanted to make sure that we allow folks to have some flexibility here and know what the options are.
All right, let's move on to some of the myths that are arising from the NCE changes that Microsoft is doing. If you want
All
to go ahead
right.
and start on the first one.
Yeah, of course. So first one here is Microsoft subscriptions automatically shut down if you do not renew on time. This is false. So I know there are a lot of times that folks just are scrambling to get things done on time and whatnot, and we understand that, as does Microsoft. So subscriptions will not be shut down. Microsoft does typically give a couple of weeks for some changes and really gives us some leeway there to accommodate those last minute changes and rushes. So no, you will not lose your services. However, we are trying to get ahead of this curve here and wanting folks to jump on the bandwagon sooner than later.
All right, the next myth is legacy subscriptions migrated to NCE will never be eligible for promotional pricing.
That is also false. So obviously we understand that folks are going to renew under their current legacy pricing and structure, at least for the next year, right? Obviously next year, no one will have the choice to renew on legacy. And at that point, everybody will be moving to NCE. But for the time being and going forward, those who move from legacy to NCE at any time will have the option and be eligible for all promotional pricing.
Okay, perfect. And our third and final myth, all legacy subscriptions must be migrated to NCE on July 1st, 2022.
That is also false. So there's a few things kind of to keep in mind with this one. So again, it is false, but there are some different changes that we want to be aware of. Again, especially for date wise. So up until March 1st, to renew on legacy without any pricing changes and maintain your flexibility, which means you can move or add licenses, remove licenses at any time without any penalties. You would need to do that by March 1st. After March 1st, you will have a pricing increase, but you will still have that flexibility of moving your licenses around. So if you want everything to stay exactly the same as it is now, no pricing increase, and again, still maintain your license flexibility, you will need to do that by March 1st. The next topic down, or the next bullet point down, is as long as you renew by June 30th, you can still maintain your flexibility with your licensing, but again, you will have at least that pricing increase with your legacy services. And the last one here, anything after June 30th or as of July 1st will automatically again be utilizing the new NCE structure. So March 1st, couple important dates here. So March 1st, March 10th, and July 1st are ones that we really want to keep in mind here. And also just want to make sure that we're clear and we help this transition be as smooth as possible for everyone. CallTower will be sending out communications. We obviously have these dates in mind as well. They're hot topics for all of us right now. So we will also do our best to make sure that we remind folks of these dates and keep everybody up to date as we have updates.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for answering so many questions about this pricing and subscription updates that Microsoft has been rolling out. We hope that a lot of the questions that people are facing have been answered. We realize that not all of them may have been. So if you need any additional information, please feel free to email us at accountmanagement@calltower.com. We'll do our best to get back to you quickly and accurately. And until then, thank you for watching and have a fantastic day.